we'll call the meeting to order. Can we get a roll call, please, Amanda?
My apologies. Certainly. Board Member Alexander.
Here.
Board Member O'Malley.
Here.
Board Member Sohi.
Here.
Vice Chairperson Ketchum.
Here.
Chairperson Harden.
Here.
All present.
Perfect. Thank you. Do we have a motion to approve the agenda?
So move.
All right.
I'll second.
A second. Perfect. Can we get a roll call on that, please, Amanda?
I just wanted to double check that that was a second by Board Member Alexander.
Yes.
Thank you. Board Member Alexander.
Yes.
Board Member O'Malley.
Yes.
Board Member Sohi.
Yes.
Vice Chairperson Ketchum.
Yes.
Chairperson Harden.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Perfect. Thank you. All right, let's open it up for any public comment. Anyone wanting to address the board at this time? Do we have anybody that would wish to speak? Okay, seeing no one mention it, we're going to go ahead and close this public comment period. Next, we're going to move on to the consent calendar. First item, we're going to draft the action minutes from last month's meeting. Is there a board member that would like to pull an item from the consent calendar? Or anyone in the public? Nope. All right. So can we have a motion to approve the consent calendar?
I'll move
This
to
is
approve.
Armor. Oh, sorry. I'll second.
Okay. So first by Dina, right? And a second by Amr?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Roll call, Amanda, please.
Certainly. Board Member Alexander.
Yes.
Board Member O'Malley.
Yes.
Board Member Sohi.
Yes.
Vice Chairperson Ketchum.
Yes.
Chairperson Harden.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Thank you. On to the business items. First, we've got the Atascadero crime prevention presentation with Police Chief Masterson. Take it away.
Chief, it looks like you're muted.
Can you hear me now? My
You're
screen, yeah, computers and I have not had a good relationship today, so if you lose me, it's entirely my fault. Hey, hi everybody, how you doing? And I appreciate the opportunity to talk with you all today. This came about really because of Omar and his help with, believe it or not, our police department. He had a crime occur at his facility, and I'm about ready to offer him a job here because he did a great job investigating it and kind of single-handedly solved the crime. He's a shy guy, but he's not piping up. But actually, it brought to light a couple of things, and that was basically the crime prevention in our tourist industry. We don't have a large tourist industry, but we do have some. We're not embedded with it as bad as Pismo. When if they shut things down, they're just really bad off. But with our hotels and our downtown business area, it just got me looking at different concepts and ideas, and I wanted to present a few of those to you all today. One of the things I was looking at was kind of like, for lack of better terms, I wanted to float this by you, is something that would be termed hotel watch, kind of like neighborhood watch, but for our hotel industry in Atascadero, where we participate more with you all, the police department being we in the city, but participate with you all more in a closer relationship with what's going on in your industry, what you're seeing as the trends, the type of clientele you're seeing trying to check into certain hotels, things of that nature, that we could partner with you and help you, for lack of better terms, keep the less desirable clientele out of your businesses, in partnership with you on that. And if you have a question, feel free to ask anytime. I think if any of you have seen me or talked to me, you know I'm really an interactive type of person. I don't take notes. I don't read off the scripts. I just kind of go where I'm guided by conversations and by the need I see that we can fulfill. So that's kind of what I wanted to talk to you all a little bit about. There's some basic prevention tips for hotel industries, for downtowns, and I think you all probably better than I know the reasons for them. You don't like the less than desirable clientele hanging around your establishments because it scares away the desirable clientele, for lack of better terms. I mean, I tell the story of a long time ago when I was the deputy sheriff of Tulare County, and I was sent up to Sacramento for the Peace Officers Memorial. And as we pulled into the hotel parking lot, the crime scene tape was still flapping in the breeze from when there was a police action there just before we got there. So as a bunch of cops, we decided we didn't want to stay at that hotel with crime scene tape flapping in the breeze and the chalk outlines on the ground and stuff like that. So I kind of relate my experience with hotels to that. I mean, we all know that some hotels can turn into less than desirable ones. I came from an area that, quite frankly, when I first showed up to it, there was one hotel as the police chief we were working with, and it was pretty much the type of hotel we wouldn't refer anybody to. So we all know those places, but a couple of basic things. I think environmental design nowadays, most hotels are built nowadays with crime prevention in mind. They really limit access, egress, and driving around Atascadero, I look at our hotels here, which, by the way, the vast majority are really beautiful, almost all of them. There's one, the Carlton, I love just the old architecture and stuff like that. And of course, you know, I always feel smarter when I stay at a Holiday Inn Express. But it's just interesting to me that hotels nowadays are really being built with that environmental design in mind to keep crime down. But there's a few things we all can do to help keep that down. And of course, that's visibility and access to the hotels. If you have a camera system, that's great. There's at least one hotel in town I know that has a better camera system than most banks. And we love that in law enforcement because that just gives us the things to do. But, you know, camera systems at least at the very least at the check-in counter, teaching your staff when people check in, you know, it's kind of intuitive. I dare say hotel staff are probably good natural cops because when someone comes in and they park their car as far away from the check-in as possible, so you don't get a really good look at it, I think your hotel staff is probably the first to pick up on something's not right here. Because most people, hate to say it, most people are going to park the closest they can at check-in, and then park closest to the room as they can so they don't have to walk much and carry luggage much. So if you see someone drive in and they park all the way down at the end and then they come to check in, that's kind of a clue right off the bat. So with the hotel watch, I'm thinking, I'm kind of envisioning something along this lines of an officer being able to talk to your staff on a regular basis about just the things we in law enforcement look for that are intuitive, the things that your hotel staff can pick up from us on things like someone parking away from the visibility area and not being able to see their license plate or the type of car they're driving. We call those things clues, that they're probably not the best customers you're looking for. And then of course your parking lot's controlling flow of traffic and access in and out of the building and in and out of the parking lot. We already talked about video monitoring, appearance and maintenance. Like I said, I've driven around our hotels, believe it or not. I'm sure you can believe it. I've been to cities where you drive by the freeway and you wouldn't stop there if that was the last place on earth to stay because you can see from the freeway it's not a good place. I drive around our town here and I look at our hotels, and you all do a fantastic job of wanting to bring in good clientele. So you're keeping the exteriors looking clean, you're maintaining the rooms, I don't see graffiti, you're repairing vandalism as it happens, things of that type you're doing a great job of. And I see more and more of it as you all come to the table and step up and kind of self-regulate. High visitor traffic areas, cars and pedestrians, stuff like that. But there's a few things you can look out for. in the state of California and in the nation is a really big push, rightfully so, on well, what's the word I'm looking for? I just lost my word. Human trafficking. Unfortunately, hotels are prevalent for that. So we'd love to get together with you all and offer you a class on keys and things to look out for human trafficking moving into your facilities, moving into your areas. I know you all have the hotel industry in Atascadero has a great neighborhood watch, if you want to, the hotel watch amongst yourselves of, hey, the people we don't necessarily want to rent to who just stop by my place. You guys have a great phone tree going on and saying, hey, this person was by my place, you might be able to look out for this person, and then passing on the house rules, stuff like that. So I know you're doing a great job with that. I was just really, after a crime happened at one of our facilities in town, I really just wanted to reach out to the hotel owners and to the tourism industry and say, what can we as your police department do to help you? And what would you like to see from us? So after my brief introduction, that's kind of what I'd like to talk to you all about. What would you like to see from us? Dead silence.
Well, I'll just jump in. I mean, thank you, first of all, Chief Masterson, for being here. Sorry, I got somebody at the door. For being here in this meeting and for meeting with me on all the stuff that happened, I don't know, a couple of months ago. Yeah, just like Chief Masterson is saying, we had a theft at the hotel and kind of went down this whole rabbit hole of what Atascadero Police Department deals with, and what maybe we can all do working together to kind of help each other and help Atascadero Police, and just kind of get some of that clientele either away or make it a little bit more difficult. I mean, I like the idea of having some kind of a course like you suggested of, I guess, like best practices and, knowing how to be a little, more vigilant or preventing certain guests from, recognizing certain guests before they get on property so we can better prevent them from staying. Love that idea. I feel like, at least for me personally, years ago, I used to be a lot more proactive on, if there was a smash and grab in the parking lot, you know what I mean? To like call the other hotels and say, hey, we just had this, heads up, or if there is a guest, you know what I mean? Not just an undesirable guest, but a guest that you really don't want for safety, for drugs, for illegal purposes. We used to, I think, do a little bit better, at least I did, communicating with the other hotels in town. And I feel like if we kind of, all of us as a group or as an industry, if we can kind of commit or talk about the idea of, sharing that type of negative interaction with the other hotels. So just as a network, it's hard for people like that to stay in this town and hopefully go to another town. Kind of wanted to explore that with this group on how people felt about that.
I totally agree with you, Elmer. I think that, we recently had a pretty big issue at our property as well, and had a great response both from the police department and everything. So that was fantastic and refreshing to deal with. But we were so focused on that I don't know that we reached out and told really anyone, but they got caught, thankfully. But I think that we used to be a lot more diligent about it. And so getting back to that habit could just only help all of us, I think. So if we could kind of get ourselves in some sort of process, I think it would be beneficial to everybody as a whole.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think because of, pretty much 2020 was a non-year. And I think a lot of us aren't communicating like we used to, kind of getting back in the saddle. But I think that's a great idea because we do, we attract not very many of those, but they're stinkers when we get them, and I think we should all be on the same page as far as these people, and a lot of times they're not from out of town, if I can just say that.
I will say I have noticed that since everything is becoming so busy again and Atascadero is becoming much more of a destination and our rates are going up, we're having less and less problems with
Yeah.
these kind of people. So
Yeah.
that's a wonderful thing. So I guess
I
the
agree.
more tourism and dollars we bring for that, the better it is for all of us because we're having less and less issues. So
Yeah, and like the hotel watch I was thinking kind of like that would be a partnership, obviously between the hotels, the police department, but the Chamber of Commerce and the tourism board. And we could be the focal point of bringing all those groups together on a regular basis, just to touch bases with everybody and say, this is what's going on. These are the crime trends we've seen kick up, and you all could report things to us. And then we could pass that information on to you all. So you wouldn't have to worry about picking up the phone. Like you said, Patricia, in the midst of something, maybe we could just pick up the phone and let the other hotels know, hey, this is what we're seeing going on in town. Or these are the characters we're seeing move into town. And these are the things you need to look out for the clientele less desirable.
Thanks, Chief. I would agree on. I did note that most of us were required to go to a human trafficking course, which was really well done by the DA's office and the task force. I've attended some of their meetings. I do think it'd be good if you were kind of a clearinghouse, because there is often new things. You go to the countywide chiefs meeting with the sheriff and you hear things going on elsewhere. If we were able to do like even just a news bulletin that only came out when there was something, but we kind of identified it, this is from you to all of us, so to speak. And I know for one, you know, there, especially in the area of drug use, there can be like something that's just catching on that you're just all of a sudden we kind of see it at the tail end. Other cities might see it sooner, and you might have wind of that. That'd be a good thing to kind of just what do we might want to look for. On the human trafficking, there were so many of those good information sheets that folks would have in restrooms and different things that I think, I don't know how to access those, but I would make more use of those. I think it's, if we could support that effort, and you might know how to, where do we access some of those things. And, you know, I think it wouldn't hurt. We haven't done it in a long time. You know, having retired from county mental health a gazillion years ago, I was more up on this, but even an information referral sheet of more than just the emergency numbers, but like there's a good national suicide prevention hotline, and there's, you know, a lot of different things that have resources that we kind of forget. We know they're out there. We know there's somebody you can call at ECHO, and there used to be a mobile crisis team at mental health and some of these things. If there were some resources that, you know, your staff came across, well, this would just be kind of a one-time information sheet that you kind of kept current for us, even on an annual basis. Well, here's just things that, you know, staff might come across that, well, it'd be nice to have that simple referral, you know, not a big deal, but a nice resource. One thing I think would be, I've noticed on a trends, you know, what I'm seeing is there's a whole lot more increased use of vacation rentals. We've never been so busy. It's predicted in the end of the world that I'm in with B&Bs and vacation rentals, where folks are liking a little more distance separation. We're getting, you know, midweek stays. We have to block off time to rest. You know, it's like people are coming and going more. And with that, of course, we've moved all of it. We primarily do events. And so we've moved to primarily doing events outside. And there's always we've had bigger problems in other areas of the county, but lots of folks are doing more events again, and they tend to be outside, going a little later. And we're all basically breaking the rules because every city has a noise ordinance that basically says no amplified sound outside after 7 o'clock. And the last couple of weddings we've had with police officers and participating in the ceremony, even we've tended to go a little later than that. And I think it's something that, you know, either the city might even want to think, do you want to, through these unique times, do we want to look at that ordinance that maybe it doesn't fit, just like we've adapted, you know, parking is a little bit more loosened up with outside activities. maybe things like the noise ordinance, and we kind of work with our community to let them know, you know, we're starting to really gear up and doing more events, and they tend to be more larger outside events, and that, you know, has an impact. And before you just get calls and a catch-22, you know, it might be good a discussion with the city council on that, but also if you have any insights on that too, I would like, you know, a review with folks that do events, which is at least Terry and I and others, like, okay, what are you concerned about and dealing with, you know, parking and noise primarily on events. That'd be a topic to see, well, how can we work together and make sure we don't create a problem? And I've had a lot of other venues ask me that, what do we do? You know, we got more outside stuff, more people coming, and it's creating those kind of problems in some neighborhoods.
Well, Todd, thanks for that. I mean, as the police chief, yeah, we generally get the calls after hours about the loud noise. Terry tries to give us a head up about events going on in the city. But yeah, I've never really thought of the impact that the times we're in has had to facilities that usually do events and that they've moved them outside.
Right.
So yeah, it's something that Terry and I can definitely talk about and talk to the city manager about.
Yeah.
Brainstorms ways to get that information out to you guys. That's what I'm trying to think of is the best way. Josh, of course, is on with the chamber, and there's an opportunity there to get information out, you know, to businesses as well as to our hoteliers. So kind of the right way or most efficient way. I can work with Chief Bob to do that. I'm all for that, whether that's a TBID meeting and a chamber board meeting and it's, you know, that kind of thing. But we can certainly brainstorm that a little more.
That would be good. And just one last topic to throw out. I know we have invested a lot in higher speed internet and cameras everywhere. I'm wanting to do more, you know, not only video conferencing, but live webcams of events and things. But with that, we have a lot better security in a sense. And it would be good, I think this would be a good one for Josh, of how do all businesses, as they are now getting more into videography kinds of things and live webcams, how can we coordinate with you? Because quite frankly, there might be things that we observe that you would like to know about if there's a particular thing going on in an area, and vice versa. How do we, oh, we just had this happen, how do we get this video stuff to you? You know, and that's probably a topic for another day, but there's probably a way to take advantage of the fact that a lot more folks are doing camera systems, and how do we make sure they're compatible, that could get information to you timely, that would help us with a problem and maybe even help you with a problem because we've got something on tape for you.
Yeah, we've had a couple of instances where we've had crimes occur at different locations, not just hotels, but other locations, where we've literally had to wait for the manager to come in the next day before we could download video, which is can at times be very, very costly for us in an investigation.
Yeah.
So yeah, if it was up to me, you know, Chief Bob of the world, I'd say everybody has to have the same system. But then I have to pay for it too. So, but yeah, they're interesting conversations we can definitely have in the future about how we can streamline all these things for all the different businesses in town. And that's kind of what I was saying about Hotel Watch, not specifically for hotels, but also involving Chamber of Commerce, the tourism board. We all work this together, and we all have the same mindset of making our community a better place for people to come into and stay, and quite frankly, spend their tax dollars. So, anything else for me?
Well, thanks, Chief.
Yeah, I think,
Thank you, Chief.
unless you're all objecting to it, which I don't think you are, I'd really like to flesh out this concept of a hotel watch or downtown watch, business watch, whatever you want to call it, where I send a specific officer to you all to reach out to set up meetings with, and just like we're discussing, relay that information and be a clearinghouse for you all.
I don't think we've heard from public.
Yeah, can do any public comments? Nope. Okay, we can close the public comment period, and then any additional board member comments before we let the chief go?
Hey, the last thing, hey, Chief Masterson, and I think it was you and Scott, Detective Scott Pippen, were telling me about Cal Orca, which I did sign up for. It's like a online retail crime association or something like that.
Yeah.
And I know it's typically for like, what's that?
It deals with the organized crime rings in commercial activity.
Yeah. So I did. I mean, everyone on this, board, you may want to consider that, because hotels are starting to get hit a lot also. So even though we're not necessarily retail, there's a lot of good information on there on stuff that's happening, right now. It's kind of broad because it's California, but that's why I like the idea of this hotel watch that you're talking about, Chief Masterson. It's almost like if it's like a Cal Orca but smaller scale, you know what I mean?
Yeah, more for our local community here, and then we could still be part of Cal Orca. And Cal Orca is California Organized Crime Association. They're a clearinghouse for information of you probably saw all the stuff on the news where people rush into stores, clear out the shelves, and run out. But that's what we're finding, is that's an organized crime ring that's doing that. They pick the location, they get 4 or 5 people to do it, and then they clear out and sell the product somewhere else, oftentimes back to the organization they stole it from in official packages. So that's kind of what Cal Orca is. And so I'm with you there. I think this could be a mini version of that, and then an association with Cal Orca.
Okay, and I can get that information from you, Chief, and share it too with everybody.
You got it.
As far as the link goes.
Okay.
Well, thank you, Chief, and thanks to
Thank
ABD for all that they did in that situation that we went through. You guys were excellent to deal with, and just want to say thank you and thanks for this.
Well, it's public knowledge now, so I can say it. It's not often that you actually get to interview somebody called Pinocchio.
Nice.
It was easier to tell when he was lying. Have a good day.
Thank you, Chief.
Thanks, Chief.
Bye-bye.
Behave.
So that one is a receiving file, so we can move on. But Terry, Garages is not here to present the next one, correct?
Correct. So I'm going to
So
stop
we'll
my
move
screen share. He apologizes. He is in the middle of harvest and couldn't get anyone else on the phone to present. So at least he did provide us with the information that you have there in the packet. So do take a look at it as far as that goes. So yes, we will move on to the next item.
Okay, so next on the agenda is the Visit SlowCal House of Brands logo application with Kathy presenting. So go ahead, Kathy.
Thank you. And I do have a presentation. So let me share my screen. Can you see that?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So Terry invited us to walk you through what we have thought through on the House of Brands for the entire county, and kind of where that program is and what our ask is of Atascadero. So with that, I'll give you a little, I don't know why in case you can't hear me, I guess it's doing the words. It keeps doing this and I don't know why. I don't know how to get it to stop. So ignore the words on the bottom. What we worked on was really saying, how do we position SlowCal, the Central Coast, to become as well loved and well known as Northern California, otherwise known as NorCal, and Southern California, otherwise known as SoCal, and how do we make sure that Central California is receiving its fair share of love? And so that was what we originally started in all the work that we've been doing for the past couple of months. With that, the SlowCal brand is made up of a myriad of communities, as you know, and every destination is different. And so we wanted to look at a master strategy that it would allow us to identify really the key attributes of all of those different communities, and then build them together so that the visitor understands that all of these different communities make up the entirety of SlowCal, and so that it's really a community-wide effort, but we're all linked together. And what we looked at was, this is what you have today. So we have all these different communities that are all doing their own thing, and they're not really tied into this idea of SlowCal, so it's not well known. or therefore well-loved. And that's what we're trying to change, and help people understand that if they take a trip to one of these destinations, they can go to one of the other destinations. And whether they're staying in that destination as well, or they're just going for an afternoon and going to one of your breweries or going to have lunch or whatever it is that they're going to do, you know, in your case, doing something in the park, they can do that and still be in one of the other communities as well. So we can have people both stay in the communities or do cross visitation and go to multiple places in one trip. So with that, we looked at what's the current state, and really the current state is that SlowCal as the master brand is not clearly connected to the individual brands. And that lack of clarity is not really helping us in when people are thinking about us as a whole and all the things they can do. It can create confusion. In our visitor profile study, we got a good laugh out of the fact that some people thought they stayed in Harmony. Obviously they didn't stay in Harmony because there's no hotel rooms in Harmony. So, but it just goes to the fact that people often don't understand where they are, where one town starts and another town ends. And so helping them understand that in the context of SlowCal was one of the goals. So we're looking for greater integration and bringing all the brands together, and greater clarity so that people understand the relationship between the communities and SlowCal, and they make a decision to come here and go to more than one city or town when they make their visit. So with that, we started with our own brand and decided we needed to really look at the SlowCal brand and make sure that it was clean, that it was going to work well with this House of Brands idea. And so the first work we did was on the SlowCal brand. What you see on the left is what we had. It's no longer current because we're changing it out as we speak. But it listed San Luis Obispo County, California underneath. We had all these variations of color. And as you can see from the color, and normally logos are small, you can't even read San Luis Obispo County. So having it on there is irrelevant. And we just cleaned up the logo, and that's what you see on the right. And then we do have a locator. If we need a locator line, we have a locator that is the center of California's Central Coast, which we can use if we need to have a locator for any reason. And so we made both a vertical and a horizontal version so that we can use it in any way, shape, or form that we need to. And then we started working with marrying our agency of record on how do we bring together the communities now under this SlowCal idea. And what we really lead into is that SlowCal is the home of many unique towns and a kaleidoscope of cultures, and they're all linked by one local spirit. And we heard that reiterated in the visitor profile study. And so that brings us to community and this idea of community. So in leaning into that, we said, okay, the unique towns and the people who live here are what make up a distinct and vibrant community. And so everyone is really a community of SlowCal, and the community can denote both the town and the city and the people. So it's, when you think about community, you can think about a community of people or a community as in a location. And really what it does is bring all of those items together. And so what we've proposed to the destinations and the marketing committee, so Terry has seen this, is this idea that there's the destination logo with this little hand-drawn carrot that is really laid back and a little bit gritty, and it being a community of SlowCal. And so taking these partner lockups, and we're going to talk about how this could be used, but having everyone do this. So when you look at that as a goal, this is what you would see. Pismo Beach, a community of SlowCal, Morro Bay, community of SlowCal, and you can go all the way through everyone. So we didn't change anyone's individual logo. That's certainly not our role or our intention. What we did was try to link everyone's current logo with this idea of SlowCal. Since this discussion, San Luis Obispo, for example, is playing with a scenario that has San Luis Obispo and where it says California underneath, of changing that wording to a community of SlowCal. So they have an example of how that could work. Now they wouldn't do that for everything, but they're willing to do that on some of the things they do because it makes sense for them. So we'll talk a little bit more about use case, but this is the direction that we're headed. Where we're working on now is this whole integration, and we get that there's an adoption spectrum. So Pismo, for example, said they would use Pismo, a community of SlowCal, on everything. That they had no reason why they weren't willing to lean into that it made sense for them, that it works for them. And as I mentioned, San Luis Obispo has mentioned that they would add it to their website, and they'll use a community of SlowCal in different places where it makes sense to them. They're not ready to dive headfirst into this whole thing. And so we're working through right now, and we're going to be presenting to the marketing committee a use case scenario at our November meeting where we'll actually provide all of the assets, and then we'll say, here are the 10 ways that you could think about using this, whether it's a header on your website or it's on the footer of your website, whether it is something that you put on all of your advertising. That's another place you could go. And so there'll be a variety of use cases. Where we would like to get is have everybody do a minimal adoption, which I think we have agreement to pretty much from the marketing committee from all the destinations to use it in some way, shape, or form, whether it's the footer of their website, the header of their website, in some way, shape, or form. They're willing to move that far. And then working all the way up to, we would love to see it on all of the advertising. We think that it just helps to reinforce the message to the consumer that you're part of something larger. And in turn, it helps you because as consumers go to other places, they realize you're part of something larger, right? So it goes back and forth the way that can work for you. So that's where we're at this point. And I will stop sharing my screen so it stops having all the words looking at you. And I'm happy to answer any questions or give you any other information that you think might be helpful as you talk about how you could adopt this.
Perfect, thanks. Any questions from the board for Kathy specifically as we discuss?
Hey Kathy, this is Amr. Is Paso Robles on board with this also? I heard you say Pismo and Slow is on board. Is Paso on board?
Everybody's on board. So yes, Paso has said they would use it too. They're looking at starting using it at the footer of their website. And then they're talking about how else that they could adopt it in some of their executions. The examples I gave you, like Pismo said they would put it on everything, which frankly surprised me. I didn't think anyone would say they'd put it on everything. So I'm going to take that and run. But everyone agreed to do something with it on the website, whether it was the footer or the header. So there was no community that pushed back and said they wouldn't do it. And in fact, we're also working through, we had some questions on how could some of the businesses use it if they wanted to say they were part of SlowCal. So for example, Farmstead Ed, when you do the farm trail, if they wanted to be part of this whole idea of SlowCal, how could they do that? So we're working on what that could look like. So if individual businesses within the county wanted to adopt this, they could as well. At the end of the day, the more use we get, the more the consumers will recognize it, understand it, and be able to understand what it means.
Nice. Excellent. And Hearst Castle, maybe, would they be, I guess, a playing partner with this also? Because I agree, the more eyeballs that see that logo, the more powerful it is.
Yeah, Highway 1 has agreed to use it, Highway 1 Discovery Route. And then we're working through all the individual communities. So that's happening as we speak as well. So it could be a community. So Cambria, for example, could be a community of SlowCal with the Cambria logo. So we're working through all the Highway 1 communities. Hearst Castle, because it's a state owned facility, we just have to work through that with them. But Jim was supportive and I think wants to see, that happen as much as we can. It helps everyone. So there's been no negative pushback on anybody saying they can't use it. For Hearst specifically, we have to jump through whatever hoops that are going to be required by the state. But Highway 1 is supportive and they're helping us get all their communities on board as well.
Nice. That's great. This is exciting because for a long time, individual communities have been talking about how can we, bridge together, you know what I mean? The way we're kind of fragmented because we all talk about being more collaborative and being together, but this is a real good, tangible step in doing that. So that's exciting.
It is, and it's nice to see everybody's, being supportive.
Nice.
What I can do right now is share our logo, and I'll have Ashley talk to that. So can everybody see our logo?
Yes.
Yeah. So part of that, Kathy, definitely easy to adapt that logo lockup, the partner lockup. Absolutely on the footer of the website, not a problem. I'm even thinking the footer of our e-newsletter. I'm thinking there's opportunity in some of our digital ads, things like that. And then I wanted to just provide, we just did a quick mock-up as well, similar to how City of Slow is approaching that, just so the board has a full spectrum of what our options are. So we have that partner logo lockup that puts us with SlowCal, and then we have an option where we're taking that visit Atascadero and then adding a community SlowCal. So there could be some balance. I was thinking, Kathy, maybe there is some way that we can have, I'll have the our creative director kind of pull together a rule basically of here's when we use this lockup versus here's when we use the partner lockup. And then we can kind of, just because we are a fairly new destination compared to a Pismo Beach and a Paso Robles and City of Slow, you know, when we've been trying to really do the work on brand awareness, we've been in the market for 6 years, not 75 years or 25 years or whatever. You know, there's other destinations that have been doing this for a really long time. So I just, you know, I'm thinking of having the bridge of a different options and then creating set rules on when we use them and where could really help build the story around us being a part of the community of SoCal.
Yeah, we're completely supportive in any way we can help Ashley do that. We're working through some of that now as we roll this out, like thinking about the co-op programs. How could that be something we lean into? Like, where are some other opportunities? So we're happy to help do that as we think through what's the best way to roll it out so it makes sense and everybody can actually use it.
Yeah. No, I think that that's going to be a nice opportunity to really, like you said, to bridge the gap of understanding. Because I do think from a consumer standpoint, you know, visitors really don't understand, as you mentioned, Kathy, too, where does one city start? Where does one city end? And are we all within a county? We're so geographically spread.
Totally. And do they even sometimes care? You know what I mean? Like, right? I mean, we're in Slow. Who cares like what individual town? But sorry, I just want to piggyback there.
Yeah, one of the things we're leaning into and where I think this will be helpful is that one of our goals is to get more cross-community visitation. So somebody comes to one destination and that's where their hotel room is and that's where they're staying. But what are the other destinations around them that they can easily go to? And we know that our primary visitors are coming from San Francisco and LA. And this idea of time and distance is very different in LA and San Francisco than it is here. And so helping them understand what time and distance means is really important. And we think this is another way to kind of pull those threads together.
Perfect. Does anybody else have any additional questions on the board? No. How about any public comments on the item? Does anyone have any comments from the public? Okay, we can close the public comment. We need a motion on this, correct, Terry?
Yes, because you want to look at providing approval of the logo application or provide staff further directions. So I think that's what we need is the item B.
Okay. Does any board member have a motion on this item at this time?
I'd move we adopt staff's recommendation of adopting what we see, the Visit Atascadero community of SoCal makes sense, and then we go ahead and use it as a basically a footer and leave it up to our marketing team to propagate that where it makes sense. I do just reference, I think in passing, somebody referenced time and distance. I think that it's probably really important for us to work that in, not necessarily on the logo, but people are shocked when you tell them, oh yeah, the beach is 15 minutes away. You know, they just can't imagine something like that. So that's
okay, okay, first from Tom. Do we have a second from anyone else?
I will second.
All right, Amanda, can we get a roll call, please?
Certainly. Board Member Alexander.
Yes.
Board Member O'Malley.
Yes.
Board Member Sohi.
Yes.
Vice Chairperson Ketchum.
Yes.
Chairperson Harden.
Yes.
Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's move on to item number 4, the quarterly marketing report with Ashley.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Patricia. I'm going to go ahead. I can share my screen, I believe. You guys can see that okay, right? We have a pretty hefty update today. I'm excited. It'll be a whole quarter has gone by. Here we are. So quickly, I'm going to go through a marketing recap, then I'll touch into kind of the updates to the strategy and then flow into some of the work we're doing over for the fall campaign. So starting with just what we've been up to over the last 3 months, We continued the outreach with our local business spotlights. That's been a huge feature in our social media program. People really engage with that content. So you'll see some of those today. Again, we always like to feature our local businesses. This quarter, it was the Poison Apple, Bloke, Back Porch Bakery, Indigo Clothing, Ancient Allen, Galaxy Theaters. And we always make sure to tag those businesses so they can also share and extend that reach. We continued our email marketing campaign. You're going to see we did have an update to the template. It was nice. It was time to refresh the look and feel of the email marketing campaign. So we did that this month as well. Social content and implementation, of course, for all 3 months. Content submissions for Visit California and CCTC content requests. So anytime we get any content requests, whether it's event specific or activity specific, we submit on your behalf. And then, of course, our fall campaign development. So really quickly jumping into website metrics, July through September of 2021, our goal, which you'll see in the strategy as well, is we want to really get back to those 2019 numbers. Our job is to try to work through and get to pre-pandemic numbers. So we look at that as a reference point when we're looking at these metrics. So we're not surprised to see them down slightly because 2019 is very different than 2021, and we're still in recovery. So, overall, our users and new users and sessions are down slightly, but I think the big thing to look at, which I've mentioned many times, is the quality of the visit. So here you can see pages per session, average session duration, number of sessions per user. People are engaged with the content, they're staying on the site longer, and they're looking at more content as they're flowing through the website. So those are all good things to look at. Traffic sources. So 2021 versus 2019. The big difference here is organic search, and that really is playing a huge part. There's people that are searching for content and getting to our website through that. So there's certain keywords that we're putting into play. You're going to see that in the marketing plan. One thing that we are adding to the media this year is a Google AdWords campaign. We haven't done Google search. Search is now going to be part of the media mix. We're really excited to see how this plays out in winter and spring this year. And then the social piece of it, just noting that we haven't initiated a lot of social paid ads like we did in 2019. We're definitely seeing boosted posts be more engaging. So we've kind of steered clear. Facebook has had a lot of challenges over the last few years, and especially over the last 6 months with their algorithm and different shifts. And so we've kind of really focused in on those boosted posts rather than paid social ads. Top cities. So here's our top 10 cities for traffic for the quarter. No big surprises because we had no paid media. Our paid media, July, August, September, we're usually light in paid media anyways, because those are typically the seasons where you're a little higher in occupancy. So then we really start ramping back up in September. We were building out assets in the fall campaign that we're showing today, that we're going to show you guys today, but we also have been working with the SLOCAL team building assets through the co-op program that you participated in. So that wrapped at the end of September, and we were able to capture the assets early October. So you'll see some of that today. So good news to report, San Francisco, Los Angeles, and San Jose are still within the top 10 spot. And we haven't been feeding content to them. They're naturally getting there organically. So that's exciting to see. Social media engagement, another core channel for Atascadero. So overall, Facebook's summary here, looking at impressions and engagements, everything is up pretty consistently from previous period. Typically we were seeing in the Facebook space, usually that 35 to 64 or 45 to 64 age range, but it has slightly shifted. We are seeing more of that 35 to 44, which is more in alignment with our Instagram followers. So that was really an interesting thing to see this quarter. Overall, again, Facebook engagements, we always like to track reaction shares, post clicks, really clicks to the site is a quality action compared to maybe a reaction to a post. So again, really those are the core things that we like to see, because that gets them to our website for more content. And then, of course, our top posts. So, content is always something that we're looking at and shifting and working with Tyrion on a monthly basis to make sure that we're really staying relevant and everything is really in alignment for that month. And so what we're seeing here, of course, Our event content is always a huge, huge driver, our Atascadero Farmers Market. And then we have been something new, part of the EDI space that we're working in with SlowCal. They developed a content calendar for the month, really focusing on EDI work that they're doing. And so from that, we're looking at, all right, well, for the month of September and October, it's National Hispanic Heritage Month. And so we want to really make sure that we're participating in that content development and supporting SlowCal in the larger effort when it comes to EDI. And so you can see here, it was actually a top post for us this last quarter. And really people are seeing, really engaging with, again, that type of content. Instagram, no big surprises or major shifts. That 35 to 44 tends to still be our sweet spot. Again, overall engagements are up. Stories are a huge contributor to that. We're doing a lot more stories and that type of organic content that we're developing there, less in the paid. So that's always something really good to see when looking at stats. And then you can see the engagement. Overall, our engagements are up. And again, likes, saves, shares, comments, things like that. Those are, again, high action, high quality visit and traction. And then our top Instagram post, we did do a giveaway. You might have heard Mid-State Fair was open again this past year. So in July, we did our giveaway. And those were obviously two major hotspots for our posts for Instagram, giving away concert tickets. And then, like I said, those local business spotlights are really a huge attraction for our fan base. So our little spot on the Poison Apple Cider and Craft Tavern was one of the top posts. So jumping into email marketing, I hope you were able to see the new eBlast email template, very clean, super simple, a little different layout. We're using these really fun, we're creating these icons that are going to be within the content of the eBlast each month. As I mentioned, we updated that in July as a refresh for this fiscal year. We sent out our 3 newsletters for the quarter, really highlighting activities, events, local shops, and dining. Our subscriber base, a little over 1,500. So we're really going to try to work on building that this year. It's going to be something that's going to be a tactic in the strategy. And then overall, July, August, September, well above our industry average open rate of 20%. So you can see 34 to 30%. Again, we usually see a higher number in summer months. People are still in that travel phase. And what we typically saw from at least the travel within state, it's about a 2-week time frame. I don't know if the hoteliers are also seeing that too, as far as the booking window goes. But some of them are really short, and then some of them are within that 2 weeks. So not too concerned with it kind of going down from July to September. Again, like I said, very high compared to average open rate. All right, jumping into creative. So here's a few of those local business spotlights. The team really has fun. They're, again, just very organic, fun, playful, trying to introduce our local business community to our fan base. So you can see Indigo Clothing and the Atascadero Back Porch Bakery Cafe noted here in our Instagram. So you participated in a co-op with SlowCal for asset development. It included 5 photos, which you'll see here, and some video work, as well as some paid media. The paid media is in motion right now. That's being delivered through SlowCal and their media team. But I wanted to showcase some of those photos. So this is a collection of the 4 of the 5. You'll see the 5th one in one of our ad creative sets that I'll show you in the new campaign, but very fun, of course, having City Hall be a key feature of our photography here, the hiking and open space that we have to offer our visitors, as well as some really fun games and kind of that local shopping experience too. So this gives you a little sneak peek of what SlowCal is running on our behalf for Atascadero. And then with that was a 15-second video. And this is the video that's currently running with SlowCal. That's part of the partnership, the investment you had. So we'll go ahead and watch it. But our team, in the meantime, where we're working on fall asset development and the campaign, we're running this in paid media as of now. And we added the Visit Atascadero logo to the end slide. We don't have the current logo lockup, as Kathy mentioned. That's something that's going to come in the November meeting, but we were able to at least add our logo to get recognition. So I'll go ahead and play that now.
Welcome to the land of sunken gardens and elevated afternoons. Welcome to SlowCal, where life is too beautiful to rush.
So they created these 15s as part of the Land Of campaign. That's what's running for our county. They have different sets for each individual city and all the different destinations, but we were able to take that 15 and then apply that for our community and have that run in the meantime while we're working on that creative. Any questions on the marketing update before I jump into strategy? No?
Ashley or Terry, I just got one quick question. The e-newsletter, the e-blast newsletter, can you, I don't think I get those anymore. I'm sure probably all of us on the board want them. Can you guys check to see that? Oh, I definitely want them, but that I can get back on that e-blast.
Absolutely.
Yeah, me too. I've never actually gotten it. So if we could.
Me too.
Me 3, me 4.
Oh man. All right. Well, I will let you know that there's I will go ahead and add and make sure everybody's on the email list, but there is an option on the website. If you go to visit Atascadero.com, you can go ahead and sign up for the e-newsletter, but I will personally go ahead and add you all to the e-newsletter subscriber list and make sure that you get that too.
Thank you,
Real
Ashley.
quick, check your spam filters, guys, because it does go to the spam filter, is what ends up happening. I don't know how to get around that, Ashley. Maybe that's something that we can look into more. That is very real. It happens with our e-blast when we're sending out the agenda to our lodging partners. Mine goes right into spam. At home, not city. I'm talking personal email. So anyway.
Yeah. And I think a lot of times sometimes I know I have to do it. I have Gmail, so I have to mark it not as spam. So then it goes into my inbox.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like the content that you want to capture, which can be a little bit challenging. I'll look to see if MailChimp has any other additional features that can help with the spam filter. But I know right now I have to mark it as not spam so it can come to my inbox. I'll look into that more. Any other questions on the update? All right, jumping in to, what we're really focused on this year. Not much has changed as far as the overall goal. We did the work with Coraggio. Again, Come Sleep Spin is our ultimate reason. It's the North Star. It's why we're here. It's really encouraging visitation and making sure people are staying in our hotels in the city, and then spending dollars within the city as well. Driving tourism recovery within the city of Atascadero is an imperative we are focusing on, as well as amplifying those local experiences that encourage safe travel. So that's all part of our marketing plan. We are kind of refreshing that from last year with some new tactics that we'll be able to have that provided to you at our next meeting, but we will have, this is again our goal. We really wanted to make sure that we had the research, which we're going to go into from SlowCal. They just had, that was part of the participation. You had visitors, the visitor survey, as well as the EDI research. We'll go over a few of those key initiatives or insights today, but needed that information before we further develop the plan. So speaking of research, wanted to give you a quick snippet of this research because there's a lot of content. I think Kathy sent me a report. It was over 80 pages originally. So this is specific to Atascadero, really pulled apart and really focusing in on what we wanted to achieve. So a little background, Visit SlowCal conducted 2 studies. The EDI audience assessment alignment study to help clarify SlowCal's image among diverse audiences, and then the visitor profile study. This was a little bit different than previous visitor profile studies. It was really forward-looking initiative that uses knowledge of past visitation to really identify those high-value visitors. And then those studies were done concurrently, and then we just received the results at the end of the month. So we are ready to kind of get some clear insights on what we can see from Atascadero in our perspective. So the city of Atascadero is less familiar, goes back to what we just talked about in the logo, and knowing that we still have work to do on the awareness side of our city. To travelers in other parts of San Luis Obispo County, the city is most familiar to Hispanic travelers. Asian travelers are the least familiar with the destination, and they're the least likely to say Atascadero is very appealing. So kind of looking at that from an EDI perspective. For those travelers who are familiar with the city, 80% say it is an appealing place to visit, and appeal is strong across diverse segments. So it didn't matter as far as the diversity segment, it was strong if they were familiar with the city. The destination is known for its scenic beauty, proximity to wineries and the coast, as you mentioned, Tom. Atascadero appeals to people who want to get away from it all and are not looking for an active not looking for an active destination, but a lack of attractions in the presence of the prison can lessen its appeal as a place to visit. And that is in the full report. We want to know good, bad, ugly. We need to be prepared for it. That's how we market against it. So we needed to make sure that we understood that as well as from a visitor perception. Strongest positioning statement for the city is Atascadero offers the opportunity to have a relaxed experience where you can feel more like a local than a tourist. This statement receives more very appealing ratings than the others that were evaluated. We'll look at that in a little bit. 8 in 10 travelers say Atascadero is good or better for safety, tolerance, and diversity. So safety, we just heard about, that's great news. But overall, I think the big key takeaway from this, from our team, we wanted to conduct this research, get these insights before we develop a fall campaign, because we want to make sure we're presenting you information that's relevant to the data, making informed decisions. So that's really where we're at today. So overall appeal, snapshot here. So among those who are familiar with the destination, 80% say Atascadero is an appealing place to visit. So you can see, as I mentioned in the insights, that Hispanic market is definitely, that's the community that we speak to strongest. Other areas you can see the Black community, Asian, LGBTQ+, and the general population. They segmented it out by all of those different communities to really understand where do we fit and where are we in alignment there. So overall, we still are an appealing destination for diverse communities. So the positioning statements, there was a variety of statements we tested. Among those, each of the positioning statement is appealing. They asked that question, is this an appealing statement to you? And really that small town charm, history, culinary charm are the most appealing options, but Escape Outdoors is close behind. Exploring with kids is a popular choice for parents, and that's really a sub-segment. You might have seen SlowCal did just released their business and marketing plan back in September. And we used those assets, that data, that full plan to help leverage what we're doing. And they've really honed in on their target audience being the mindful traveler, the purposeful traveler. That's what they're calling their target. And so knowing that, how does that play into the work we're doing? And because what we're seeing is a lot of cross segmentation. So I'm considered in the family target because I have 2 kids, but I love the outdoors and I love going to events, but I might not be served creative that doesn't speak to this audience because I'm categorized as family. So really those cross sections of building and kind of building that target audience out a little bit deeper to be more mindful of who is that individual and how do we as a destination appeal to them? So again, that positioning Atascadero offers the opportunity to have a relaxed experience where you feel more like a local than a tourist. So we took that and we knew that, the local community there is something, the essence of Atascadero, there's such a blossoming entrepreneurial spirit there. It's something that really is in alignment with the work SlowCal is doing around the SlowCal Crafted. You might have heard Kathy mention that in previous, or Sandless or SlowCal in itself have this SlowCal Crafted segment of the marketing that they're doing. And what's nice is Atascadero aligns and fits really well within that. You've got new stores, new experiences, the container, that whole little container community across the Carlton. I've been to Ancient Al and the hat shop is so cute. And it's really bustling downtown, which is great news from a visitor's perspective. They're looking at that. So there's nothing better than the locals telling that story. And that was really the insight that we pulled to help build out the fall creative concept. So overall, this just shows, again, how this idea, this positioning idea appeals for all our different segments that we were looking at in our data. And that helped to drive the creation of the fall campaign that we're presenting today. So this idea is all in Atascadero. We like the concept of this all in because it has a play on words in this. All in, as there's all kinds of different experiences within Atascadero, but all in because Atascadero is all in on what we have to offer as a visitor. And so we developed a story that really positions this concept and really pushes us to another level. I'm really excited with the creative execution. You'll get a sneak peek of it today, but just happy with the vibrancy. And it goes again to the craftsmanship and the entrepreneurial spirit, as I mentioned, of the city. So Atascadero doesn't do half-baked. From its historic buildings to its custom-built beach highway to its relaxed open container laws, this town is committed to its identity and vision. Instead of being all things to all people, it goes all in on what really matters. Craft spirits, bespoke fashions, artisan bakeries, open trails, because authenticity invites authenticity. Atascadero invites you. Come be fully, wholeheartedly you. Go all in and never look back. So this was really the story behind the concept that we built out that really shines kind of Atascadero in a different light. We want to really own who we are, because that's important for visitors. They want authenticity. It's one of the number one things that they're looking for. So what does that look like? This is going to be the first year. You've seen in a lot of creative sets we've developed over the last 6 years have been motion graphics, different video ads, cutting up video with different music. This year, we're going to do a voiceover. We want to get key people from the community to share and tell this story. And really, it goes back into that live like a local idea. We don't just serve it up. So you're going to hear voiceover saying this. We roast it, distill it, brew it, bake it, make it, churn it, grow it, pick it, build it, crank it, craft it, live it, breathe it, believe it, and then we serve it up, all in Atascadero. So again, you're visually going to see our local businesses doing these things. So we might be at Jobella and you might see them roasting coffee beans. And then we might be at Central Coast Distillery distilling alcohol there. And then we might be at Back Porch Bakery because we're, baking it there, things like that. So we envision just a large collection of experiences of our local business community that tell the story of what you can anticipate when you're here. And that's kind of the idea. It's been a lot of fun. We see 3 different video sets, so a lot of different ways to cut that up and create things based off of seasonality and what's going on. So really excited for this idea to bring in voiceover this year. Creatively, what does that look like? So we do have a print ad. We actually just did, Yosemite Magazine had a co-op with Central Coast Tourism Council. We did participate. Terry and I reviewed the opportunity. We really liked the opportunity, again, highlighting the open space. It really aligns with outdoor. We know that that's an experience people are looking for. So taking that new creative concept, that fall campaign, and really giving it life in the print space. So this again is using some of that content. Live it, breathe it, believe it. Visit Atascadero, all in Atascadero. The whole full design is all craftsmanship. It's all hand drawn. It's brush stroke. It's really exciting. It has a lot of energy. This is one of the photos from the recent video shoot that we just did with SlowCal. So we utilized one of their assets. And then we did a specialty highlight, really kind of adding a bright shine of light over the hikers that you see on the right-hand side. So again, we're excited for this to be, we haven't ever done Yosemite Magazine before, so it's exciting and we can't wait. What's nice is we get monthly leads. So not only is it print, but it's smart print. They're going to give us a monthly lead list that we can reach out to reconnect with, not just a print ad one and done. It's a monthly lead list. So that's how we like to do strategic print. That was a lot. I know there's a lot of research information, content information, questions before we kind of jump into where it's going.
I loved that ad. That was.
Yeah, I do too.
Really,
it looks really good.
Yeah. I love that.
Awesome. Well, we can't wait for the videos when we shoot. We're going to shoot here soon, and having the local business community is just the vibrancy of everything we have too. And so to just feature all of these different really cool new places, and even, some of our classic traditional spots, just to really, I think the local business community is going to be excited to be a part of the program. So I'm so glad. We are over the moon with it. We really love it. All right. So jumping into where all this is going. So in the paid media, we have allocated $82,000 of our full contract. So we always like to make sure that we're pushing as much as many dollars as we can into the paid media space. So here's how that breaks down. It was, this is similar to what was presented at our last board meeting as far as the budget, but we added another line item to include that Yosemite Journal, Yosemite Magazine ad. So again, we've got kind of this recharge in nature, cultural immersion traveler. Those are, again, subsets from Visit California, these travel mindsets. People want to, recharge and really live like a local. And so we really are going to be targeting those behaviors with those videos that we're going to be creating that go for the fall campaign. And that'll run October through June. And you can see the different, we go strong October, November, December. We go a little lighter at the end of December, January. We ramp back up February, March, so we can really hit hard before summer. So we've always had a media spend that is seasonal, and we'll continue that as we see, that continuing being a trend. We have our Google AdWords paid search. So really tapping into that space. That starts January. So we'll be able to, we're going to do some onboarding and we'll do some research on keyword analysis, provide that. And then we're going to run Google AdWord campaigns for the remainder of the month. If that's successful, we see that as an always on channel. It'll be something that we continue to do always, doesn't really, we won't seasonally kind of shift that. It'll kind of just be an always on approach. And then lastly, our Facebook and Instagram boosted posts. We always like to allocate a small dollar amount to boosted posts for event promotion and any type of content that's more promotional. And then print, something new this year. We haven't done print in a really long time. So working again with our partners, Central Coast Tourism Council had a partnership in Sunset Magazine and Yosemite Journal. So we participate in those. They're both coming out in October as far as when those will be released. So very exciting new opportunities. Any questions on paid media, the plan?
Hey, Ashley, I don't have any questions on paid media. But that going back to that visitor profile study, which was insane, a lot of good information. Is it possible to see like how like the questions where, we're appealing, we're not appealing to different groups of society, whatever. Is there a way can we see like how we kind of rank up to other towns like in this county? You know what I mean? Like, Black, Hispanic, Asian, is it more appealing in SLO, Pismo? Are the numbers the same? Is it even worth looking into? I just want to know what your thoughts are on that.
Yeah, Terry, we can, I actually have a meeting with Kathy today at 5:15. So I'll ask her. She just sends over our individual city report because that's the participation we invested in. But I know we have the county report. I don't know if it subsets out all the individual cities or if we can get that information, but let me ask her and I can get back to you.
It's a good question, Umar. Definitely.
Yeah. Okay, sounds good. It seems like that could be a day in itself, but all right, sounds good.
Awesome. And then wrapping up here, August lodging performance report. We always like to make sure that we share this information. This is coming from us from SLOCAL, part of the partnership we have with them. They give us a report. This is for August. And again, they're looking at lodging performance year over year, 21 versus 2020, but then they also include 2019, because again, we want to get close to those 2019 numbers. Across the board, occupancy, ADR, RevPAR, everything's up year over year. Not a huge surprise. 2020 was, what was it even? It was not, I don't even know. It's over, thank God. And 2021 is better. But again, we really want to see those 2019 numbers. We want to go back to that 2019. Good news, as you may mention too, ADR is up 7%. RevPAR is down just a little bit and occupancy is down 7.4%. So overall, we do know supply is up with the addition of the Hilton Hotel. So we have that in there as well. But we do have, it's nice to see ADR up from 2019 numbers. Any questions on the lodging report? All right. And with that, thank you so much. Sorry, it was a lot of information, but all good stuff. So thank you.
That was a great presentation. Thank you.
Yes, thanks, Ashley.
Yeah, thank you, Ashley.
You guys have been working hard.
There's a lot of, I can get so in the weeds of the data. That is just, data mining is, Whew, you need to have a bottle of wine for that stuff.
I bet it gets more interesting with wine too.
I bet, yeah. Thank you, everybody.
Perfect. If there's no other questions from the board, do we have any public comments on this? No. Okay, so we can close the public comment period. And then with, oh yeah. Oh, you're good? Okay. Perfect. So any additional board comments? Nope. So we will receive and file and move on to the budget report with Terry.
Gee, thanks, Ashley. You're a tough act to follow, that's for sure. Okay, so I'm going to share our screen real quick on this exciting stuff that we have going on here with budget. Can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
Yep. Okay, great. Yep. So this is your overall at-bid summary, and this shows your actual column here, June 30th, 2021, and then where we're at through August 31st of 2021, and that second column on year-to-date actual. These two columns, of course, change. The one that ended 6/30/2021 is our fiscal year that ended, but we are on an accrual basis, not a cash basis. So as bills come in, they are paid, and that's why there's a little asterisk there. You'll see the ending available balance right now is $398,744, carries up to the beginning available balance in the year-to-date actual 2021-2022 category. And this reflects your revenues that have come in, it reflects your expenses, as well as where you're at. If you scroll down to the second one, it's the exact same thing, only it's through July 31st of 2021, and you can see how these actual columns change a little bit. Obviously, you have the most recent up here on the first page at the ending balance of $398,744 from last year, and you can see $395,981. So there's going to be some changes as we go. Usually those end about now, but for the most part, all of the bills have been processed. So, and then it just goes older. So the third page that you have is through June 30th of 2021. And you can see how we, our numbers have shifted a little bit as we've wrapped up the 2021 year. So that's the overall summary. Are there any questions on that? All right, and on that, next we have, my apologies here. We have our next screen with our overall expense summary that we have. And this shows everything that you have with all the details. So this is all of the things that have come in July 1st of 2021 through August 31st of 2021. That's your expenditure detail report. That's the most updated and current right now. So that way you can see that and you can peruse through it and see what's actually come through as far as that goes. And we have our TOT. Does everybody see TOT? Because I don't know if I have to stop share and reshare.
I can see it.
Okay, thank you. So fiscal year 2021, obviously we just closed. We just started fiscal year 2022 for the first quarter, July through September. We don't have any new numbers yet because all the billing just went out on a quarterly basis. So this is where we are, but this is where you can see where we are ending June 30th of 2021. The total there. So that kind of gives you an idea. In the November meeting, we should have an updated report that shows you your first quarter of 2022 on the quarterly basis. And then we have Verdun's version of their expenses that has been included and will continue to be included. So I don't know, Ashley, if you want to talk to this a little bit. You just talked about paid media on your one spreadsheet. I don't want to be confusing, but I wanted to provide it and have an opportunity to talk about it real quick.
Yeah, absolutely. So as I mentioned, we always have every bucket completely laid out for Atascadero to view. So, you know, our strategy, our marketing plan, and that first top line item, creative development, website updates, social media, e-news e-newsletter for our email marketing campaigns, public relations, media planning, and then the media cost, 82,000 is the planned media. And then you see reactive media. So you've got 20,000 in that reactive for other opportunities that pop up. We were able, because we hadn't hit go on our paid media in September as we were waiting on some assets. So we were able to use the September planned media to do some of the new partnerships with Yosemite Journal. And so we haven't tapped into that reactive yet. However, we will be looking at that for the visitor's guide for SlowCal and tapping into that a little bit here and there, but it'll be something that, always is discussed with Terry and approved, of course, but 82 plus that 20 goes into hard costs outside the agency.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions? You want to see another spreadsheet?
No.
Okay, come on. Aren't I just as exciting as Ashley? Don't answer that.
No, I want to see another cute ad.
Yeah, there you go.
More to come.
There you go. Okay.
Hey Terry, I forget on that TOT report, is that that's the total 13.5 that's the total, that's everything, right? It's not just the general 10%.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the whole thing. It's the
Perfect.
13.5, I'm pretty sure, but I will double check myself, but yeah.
You got it. All right.
Perfect. Any questions from the board? So we can open it up to any comments from members of the public if anybody has anything. Not, we can close it and receive and file. All right, and next up, it looks like we've got the Visit SlowCal update with Camille.
Yes, hi guys. I'm gonna share my screen really quick. All right, so I'm going to be giving a brief update on the events and festival strategy, as well as the customer service training initiative. All right, so can everyone see my screen?
Yeah.
Yep.
All righty. All right, so to start off for the events and festivals strategy, so the board of directors did approve this 2-phase approach that we were planning on. And the person to be approved as the facilitator for phase 1 is Matthew Landcomer, formerly of Coraggio Group. And so the participation requests to be part of the working group were sent out on September 30th. And the phase 1 working group will consist of destination partners as well as city and county stakeholders. And the first facilitation for this is scheduled for November 10th based on the majority availability of the working group. And so the next steps for this, a confidential survey was sent out on October 18th and it was sent to investors, partners, and stakeholders and will be out until October 29th. And this survey will help provide us some broad insight on how we're going to conduct the facilitation, and the results of this will help shape the facilitation agenda. So does anyone have any questions on that before I move on to the customer service training? All righty.
Wait, sorry, Camille. Hey, on these events and festival strategy, so they're starting phase 1, right?
Yes.
They're starting phase 1, and I mean, I guess I'm kind of wondering because there's been some holdup with different cities as far as, I guess, level of interest, or just if they want more information or whatnot.
All of the cities.
All of the cities. You got it.
Yeah.
I mean, is this something that, I guess I'm trying to get a better understanding, because it's something that I have interest in, and I feel and I think that most cities and organizations have interest in, but they just like Terry was saying, that we're looking for more information. Is there something that we can do, or this board can do, or Atascadero can do, as far as making a strong statement to other towns and cities that we're interested? Yes, we want more information, but that this would benefit us all if we feel that way. I kind of want to, because we haven't really talked about it much as a board. I'm not sure if it's something that we should discuss in another meeting, or how everybody feels about it. You know what I mean?
Right.
I can talk to it a little bit, Camille, if you'd like.
Yeah, please go.
Okay. So basically, a lot of your destinations have an event strategy already. And what we all were kind of going before COVID, it was all about, there's so many events, and how do we make these events more where you'll attract people from other, you know, markets that are planning travel to our destination as a whole as SlowCal. Not really changing what we're currently doing with events, but really, you know, how do we manage that, and how do we attract people here for a real tourism type of event, like Savor, let's just say. So it kind of started like that, and then COVID set in, and then it kind of all went out the window. So what Visit SlowCal is doing is bringing back this two-phase approach and really kind of dusting it off a little bit on phase one, and really understanding, you know, where we need to go, what we need to be doing. We understand that everybody has their own event strategy and their own, you know, planning, as we've all done, Tamale Festival, things like that. But how do we become more attractive? And where are the boundaries to that? Basically, you know, it's kind of an educational process of where to go for event information too, and calendars and things like that, and not overstep each other at the same time. Not saying, no, Pismo, you can't have a clam festival. It's not about that. So it's really kind of getting more clarity and getting more understanding of the MOU and what we're really signing off on. So that's kind of how this is being packaged back to all the destinations to be involved with. And I don't know if that's helpful or not, but from phase one, it will go to phase two. And then there'll be more of an MOU that comes out of that kind of is more specific as to what we're all signing up for. So that's kind of, in a nutshell, the way I'm understanding it for the next steps, and why it's been such a heavy lift, if you will, because everyone's, it was just very vague in the MOU. And there wasn't a comfort level of signing off on something like that from our city managers.
Right. And I think that is what the first facilitation is for, is to get everyone together and just hash out all of their concerns so that we can really plan for phase two and meet everyone's expectations.
Gotcha. Awesome. Okay. Thanks to both of you.
Thank you. So then moving on to the customer service training initiative, we will be, so yes, a customer service working group was formed to determine objectives of the learning modules and drive content development. And so Icon Productions, based in Calgary, was approved by the board of directors to lead the program development. And they have a lot of experience within this customer service training realm and have won awards with it. And that's why they felt like it was important to go through with Icon Productions. And so this project is estimated to take 7 months and is broken into 6 different phases. And so the next step for this is to complete the contract review, and participation requests were sent out or will be sent out to working group members and destination partners at the end of October or early November. And then an anticipated project kickoff is expected for November 2021. And then any questions regarding this or the previous, the events and festival strategy, can go to Melissa Murray, who is on my team. Any questions about that? Nope. All righty. Well, if you guys have any questions, please either reach out to me, or you can reach out to Melissa Murray, and we can handle any of your concerns.
Thank you, Camille. That was much more informative than I could have done. Thank you.
Me too. Yay.
Thank you.
I'm so excited. So's Ashley. Slides do help too. I'm telling you, it does. Thank you.
Perfect. So it looks like it's your turn, Terry, with administrative services updates.
Okay, no problem. So we haven't received any RFPs, Tom, in answer to your question. So what we did do, Amanda sent it out again on the 18th, on October 18th. out to all the lodging partners. I have had some conversations here and there. Amanda Diefendorfer just had sent me an email regarding the RFP. So I sent her the link to that. It's on our latest news page. I honestly feel like part of it is because people wait to the last minute before they submit anything. And our deadline is November 1st. However, over the next 2 weeks, I think we should all make a lot of noise and kind of put out there that we're looking for that management piece as far as agenda and minutes and things like that go. It's, it's pretty easy. It's 16 hours a month, I believe, is what Amanda and I have figured out since we've been working on different things. Worst case scenario, you might be stuck with the city, stuck with me. I don't know. We'll do it for as long as we need to do this and make sure everybody's happy and we're moving forward and we're not getting caught up in the fact that we don't have a management piece to this. Ashley's done an amazing job. She's really stepped up, but all of the strategy and everything that we need to hear about. She has pinged me to keep us on track. So we've been doing all of that. I'm hopeful though. I'm going to attend CTCC with Ashley on Monday on the workshop. They're there the entire time and maybe I'll find someone there, but networking out there a little bit. And then Tom, I believe you had a couple of folks in mind. I don't know what might have happened with that, but we don't have anything right now.
I'll follow up, though I would insert in, I think things are actually going quite well. I've been very impressed with what Verden's been doing. And I think you and Ashley and Amanda have really taken care of our needs quite well. I mean, for where we found ourselves, I think it's going maybe better than it's gone in a long time. So I appreciate what you've all done, and we'll see if we can get some help, but I think it's gone very well.
Thank you. And I've spoken to folks. I've spoken to Cheryl Cumming. She, could have had or might have had an interest, but she's just kind of tapped out. She had somebody in mind, and that since that conversation, she doesn't have anybody specifically. I have, that's kind of where we are anyway. I don't have anything else that has come over as far as that goes.
If anyone had some additional questions or wanted to kind of feel out the situation a little bit, it would be best to refer them to you, Terry.
Yeah, that would be perfect.
Okay.
And if they want something quick and you want to email them, atascadero.org under latest news, it's on the top line right there. So we just put that up there today because it was on the TBID page. It was a little buried. So we pulled that out so it's front and center so we can really use that on atascadero.org. You have to scroll down kind of mid-level on the page, but you'll see it there. And I'm happy to talk to whoever. I mean, I'm yeah, me and Amanda, both.
I'd just like to say thank you, Terry and Amanda, for stepping up, because I was really nervous there when they gave their notice, and you guys have really taken the ball and run with it. So I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Yes.
It's very important to us, very important to our marketing and events area and all of that too.
Right.
It's a huge piece that has to keep going. And I'm here, Amanda's here to make that happen. So, all right. I think from here we go back to Ashley, but I don't know, Ashley, if you're have anything more.
No, I mean, I think the Slow Cal Marketing Committee meeting we had, and we kind of had our normal update there. So I don't think there's anything else really to report on the county side, because right now we're just really nailing down the House of Brands, which we'll finalize in November. So that's it. Unless there's anything from Camille from the Slow Cal team on marketing.
Yeah, I think we're good.
Very good. Awesome. Okay, I'll go ahead and move into city business update. So I did speak with Amanda Whitstrom Higgins in regards to Wine Speak. And basically with the climate in Hawaii being how it has been, they really, with tourism and everything else, they really couldn't get it arranged for Chuck Faria to come over, the master sommelier that does all of the seminars and pulls it together. So for 2022, we won't have a wine speak in January. I talked to her about maybe doing other things that, you know, might be more training or hotelier lodging type of things, seminars, but I know we have Visit SlowCal for that. So I'm not really sure if, you know, there's a whole lot going on there that we could really make happen. We had done something in July of the 1 year that we reached out to the hotel industry just to do a mini training here in Atascadero, and that was like a couple of years back. So we didn't really come up with any brainstorming things, but we are on her radar. And if anything should change or time of year should change, or, you know, once they start planning for 2023, that's my hope that we can really kind of work in that direction. But that's the update on Wine Speak, the reason why you didn't see it on your agenda. So that's that. The Central Coast Craft Beer Fest will end up being at about 2,500 people for this weekend on Saturday. That's the 12 to 4 event here in the Sunken Gardens. We are going to have a booth, thanks to Josh, especially Josh. He will help man that booth from 12 to 4. I will be setting it up about 9:15. I'm recruiting still a couple people if you want to help me with the pop-up tent and getting the table out there and our cool swag, which I'd love to run down the stairs and run back actually, but I don't think I'm going to be able to pull that off because they did arrive today. So we will be handing out some of the swag that we got, as well as our, you know, brochures and all the other things that we have to promote our area. I know Josh is also adding to that. The Business Improvement District is adding to that as far as, you know, what they have to, you know, give out. So we will have a good Atascadero presence there, and I'm super excited about that. And then STR. So we do have a quick update to share, but I'll have more of an update for you when we come back. So the update that I'm showing you right now, this is the vacation stay rentals. It's kind of where we left off. I'm asking ComDev for a whole new update because we had some of these guys in pink that was code enforcement, and we wanted to get an update. I just wasn't able to get an update for you in time. And there was a couple second notices that I'm not sure what had happened with those. So I am following that through with our folks downstairs. They should have something for me. I did talk to Host Compliance and went on with them. That's our new Granicus short-term rental platform that we have. That contract expires March of 2022. I was going to recommend to the board that we bring that into our November meeting, along with our finance team, Jerry Rangel and Cindy, to talk about the new HDL platform, which also has a host compliance type of element to it. This is that platform that will take us to a monthly, so versus quarterly reporting. So this is what we've been wanting for many years now, and we're actually at a place to start working with them. And what's nice is because they have the same platform as host compliance, we can kind of compare and contrast without having to end our host compliance contract. So it will help us to kind of see the benefit of each program. And if we don't need to have host compliance because the HDL has it already and that's what they do, then we're looking at ending that contract, but that'll be up to all of you on the board. But we'll come into November meeting to really talk about that. I really wanted Ashley to talk about marketing today. There's a lot to talk about. So that's why I wanted to kind of put that to the November meeting. And with that, that's where we are with the short-term rental update and how that's going to coincide with the other. So it's exciting. Did you hear that, Amber? Monthly.
I did. That's super exciting.
Yeah, it could be. I think it's a January start. I apologize. I didn't get a chance to get with Jerry before coming onto our meeting, but I know that it's in the works right now to kind of work with that and how it's going to start transitioning over. So yeah.
No, I was excited to send my last Q3 TOT check. Those are the big ones.
Yeah.
But hey, the only question I have about WineSpeak then is is it not going to be refunded and we're transferring it to next year, hoping that it's on for next year?
I would say that's probably the best way to go.
Okay.
It was hard to get a read from Amanda on where she is for 2023.
Yeah.
It was, yeah, I was more after 2022 and hoping that, you know, they've been working on some different things, but she's in a lot of different directions right now. So I'm not sure, but I did tell her we really want it to come back. So.
Okay, cool.
And then Ashley has a picture of our swag. If you guys want to take a quick second to take a peek at that, I'll stop sharing my thing. So you can.
I just popped it in the chat. There's a little JPEG.
Oh,
if you open it up. I got one out of the box and I had to hold it up, and then I of course had to send it to our creative director because she had to see it. So took a little picture in my Slack channel to share with my team, but they look great. It's the logo's engraved so it won't come off. Nice little classic bottle opener. It'll be great to have that as swag at the upcoming events. And then we have that motel keychain that we're working on now too. So that kind of classic retro motel keychain style. So really fun swag this year.
Nice.
Very cool.
Where can we see pictures of that?
If you open up your chat at the very bottom, there's that
okay.
little chat. If you open up that, there's scroll to the bottom, there's the image. You click on that and it opens. Thank you, Zoom.
Yeah, I love Zoom.
It's the best.
Didn't love it at first, but it's good with this stuff. I'd rather see y'all, but yeah. I know that Josh dropped off because he had to run. There's a mixer at the zoo tonight. We're doing Memorial Day, City of Atascadero kind of dual mixer, if you will, over at the zoo garden next to the zoo. So he was talking to Peloton, the bike folks. And it's a very much of a North County event that they've been talking to Peloton magazine. So it's not the Peloton stationary bike. It's all of the different bikes and the different vendors that come in for that and how they stay here. They don't like ride through like Amgen per se. It's a pretty cool event that they want to come and present to the board. So I could add it to the November meeting. If that's of interest for the board, you just let us know what you'd like to do. It will involve Paso. I didn't want to share when I first met with them, and I had to share. he had Paso there, so I was like, oh man, why'd you bring them? Sorry, I get like that. But anyhow, so it's a big event. I almost feel like it, and I had told the Peloton guy that this is something that Visit SoCal should also be in the room about, which you will be, Camille. And so I feel it's if he hasn't talked to Chuck already, it feels like it will be that big of an event. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Any board member comments at this time? No? Okay. So future agenda items. Does anybody want to request a change or addition to the future agenda item list? Do we need, Terry, do we need to formally request Josh getting put on it right here, or can we add him to it?
We can add him to it. I mean, if y'all are okay with that, I would suggest 1 and 2. We did have 3, but I will keep that update for the Visit SoCal Events and Festivals strategy on Camille, because that'll be evolving until we actually want to look at the MOU. We'll keep it on here, but it won't be like in November. We have to meet in November, so it'll be more like February probably, or January. And we don't meet January. I forget, I have to look, but I'm pretty sure that's the 1 month that we don't meet. It's either December or January.
I thought it was December.
I think you're right. I'm looking really quick because, you know, I always get confused on that one, but you're
I thought it was July and December, maybe.
Yeah, July and December. Yep, you got it. So if anything, that would be then January, if we don't have anything about that. Yeah, I know we won't, not in November, unless Camille starts saying, no, you're wrong. It's like we have to meet still. Up to you all.
Do you guys want to add Josh's presentation about the Peloton event to the next?
Yes, I would like to hear about that.
Sounds like a big opportunity. So
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we'll bump it to 3 and then bump everything down from there.
perfect.
Okay.
Perfect. Any other comments about future items? No. All right. I think then that is it, and we can adjourn. We did it.
Fantastic, and early, it's 4:13.
Yay! Good job, you guys.
Dude, Patricia, again, you're gonna set a record.
Yeah. You're like Mayor Moreno. Sorry, Tom. Hit it right away. I gotta give you a bad time.
Bye,
All right,
everyone.
thanks everyone.
All right,
Thanks,
bye.
guys.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.